Hello, I'm going to do the Capricorn daily energy, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take what does. If it does not, leave what does not. So I thought for fun today I would use my Lenormand and get a message with that because I like my Lenormand. All right. We have the Labyrinth. We have the Sun card. We have the Clover. Feeling lucky. Feeling lucky. All right, we have the Coffin. Bridges. Staircase. And the Wishing Well as overall energy. I love it. So for overall energy, we have the Wishing Well. And obviously that is your wishes, your dreams, your goals, what do you want to have happen. And with this one, we have the little crank here. So it's like you have to take that energy and that effort. You have to do those things, pursue those things. You have to turn that crank in order to get the bucket down to the bottom, for it to scoop up the water, and then to, again, turn that crank in order to bring the bucket back up to the top. So I feel like this is not only knowing what it is that you want to have happen, or your goals or your directions, right? But also being able to make that effort to make them happen. So right now you might feel a little confused. You're like, okay, I know what it is that I want to do. I know what it is that I want to have happened. I know what my wishes and my dreams are, my goals are, but I'm not really sure how to get there, right? Because the labyrinth is kind of going back and forth. Like, I almost feel like that's sort of your goal right there, is to get to there, but there's all of this back and forth. There's all of these paths. There's all of these directions that you can go in, right? Or maybe it may even be you're not even sure what this wishing well represents. Maybe you're like, I don't really know what that is, right? I think we all kind of have an idea of what that wishing well is, but maybe it's like, well, I kind of have a vague idea, and so then it can be a little confusing and you're not really sure which way to go. But it's what makes you happy, what gives you that energy, what gives you that brightness, that lightness, that happiness, you know? And then I feel like something's going to fall in place. I feel like something's going to happen, right? Because we have the Sun card and we have the Clover, and the Clover is lucky, feeling lucky, things falling in place. I feel like maybe it might be signs around you, things that are happening, and it's like, oh, I was in this energy of this wishing well, and I'm being a little confused, but I am kind of doing those things to at least do something, and all of a sudden these things are happening, and I feel like things are starting to fall into place, and it's showing me the direction that I need to go in. All right. And then for future energies, we have the Coffin, which is taking a rest, kind of thinking things through, making some decisions, right? Gapping that bridge. What are those choices that we need to make? But there is no wrong choice with the stairs, right? Because one door opens up to the sky and one door opens up to the sun. So it's like the stairs represent, no choice is a bad choice if you're taking those actions and those steps, right? If you're making an effort, because I feel like it almost shows itself as to what it is that you need to be doing. And I feel like when the time is right, these things will show up for you. Like, not to worry about it, because sometimes we worry about it and we're like, well, I really wanted this to happen. I wanted that to happen, and I thought by now that in this time in my life that this was already going to be happening, and so we get frustrated with that. But sometimes, you know, sometimes it can be with relationships. So it may not be that, you know, maybe we feel that we're ready for the relationship, but that other person may not be ready, or that the timing isn't right, right? Maybe it's now like, you know, you wanted to buy a house, but it's like, well, you know, the prices have gone way up, but the situation that you're in right now is okay, so you can make that work for a few more years until, or however long, until the prices come back down, where it's more manageable, where it's not more workable, so it's, you're not putting yourself in this huge amount of debt, or whatever that thing is that you want to make happen, right? With those bridges, I feel like that's kind of, we'll cross that bridge when the time is right. We will cross that bridge, right? And we will ascend to a higher level, but it's not rushing it. And maybe it's just right now is that figuring out time, right? Maybe now is that labyrinth time. Maybe now is that time where it's like, well, I can do all of these other things. I can look at all the different options and researching, right? I feel that's really important. If there's something that you want to have happen, I feel like, you know, if you want to start a new business, I feel like it's very important to research it and look into those things and figure out those things that you need to do. But it's almost like, don't let that stop you from doing it. Sometimes it's like, you just got to jump in feet first and go for it, right? And then you just kind of muddle your way through it. And you're like, I'll figure it out. But I need to, you know, make this happen, because if I don't do it now, right, then I feel like it's not going to happen. But I feel like it's whatever you feel works best for you, whatever you feel is the right move for you. I don't feel that there is a right or wrong one. Sometimes we just all have our different paths on how we approach things. But if it's making us feel happy, if it's making us feel good, I personally don't think that it's a bad thing, because it's motivating us to move forward. And I feel that that's definitely a good thing, and to pursue those things that we like to do. All right, so I feel like an empowering question. Finding that happiness, right? With the labyrinth and the sun card, finding that happiness. What makes us happy? Do you know what makes you happy? Like, what makes you happy? Are you doing those things that make you happy? How would I want to be encouraged right now? What would I want to hear? Oh, that's an interesting one. What are those things that encourage you? What are those things that motivate you? What are those things that help you to pursue this wishing well, right? To have that crank and to turn that crank and to make that happen, to make that bucket move, right? To make things happen. What are those things? And maybe kind of seeking out those things that would encourage you. And surrounding yourself with those people that will give you those encouraging words, that will give you that support, that helps you to push through. Because sometimes what our goals can seem overwhelming, and it's like you start to do it and you're like, wow, this is way more than what I was thinking. And then you become overwhelmed. But then doing that research or surrounding yourself with those people that say, you know what? You can do it. You can do it. You can push through it. You can find your way. Because I feel like you're just feeling a little lost. You're a little confused. Like you're a little overwhelmed. But I feel like there's still something that is pushing you. And to not push yourself too hard, because then it becomes overwhelming. So to make sure that, if you're feeling overwhelmed, sometimes it's good just to step away, take a little break, and then get back into it, right? Because then that makes you feel like you're moving forward. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.